Thank you. All right, we will call to order the school board meeting. First up on the agenda is the approval of the school board minutes. I guess there's no objection. We'll approve the minutes of May 14th and the non-public minutes of May 14th by consent. All good. All right, hearing no objection, then they are approved. First up is early acts. We have a crowd of early acts.
Yay. You guys can stand up with me. So I have the pleasure of running early act this year for Rotary. These are some of our officers. I'll let you ladies introduce yourselves and say your position as well.
I'm on the right and I am the president. I'm Alex Calder, I'm the phone president. I'm Maya and I'm just a member. I am Raylan and I am the president.
So Early Act is a program through Rotary. Come up with it, you guys know something, okay? A program through Rotary to start service projects in the elementary school, and it's offered to grades 3 through 5. And if you're in 5th grade, you can hold officer positions. Some number stats that I wanted to share with you guys that I thought was so cool. So grades 3 through 5, we had 60% of those grades participate at least a few times. We had, let's see, 22 students participate 50% or more of the meetings, and 17 participate 75% or more of our meetings, which was awesome. We meet every other week during their lunch and recess, so they sacrifice that, break to come join the meetings. And then we had 3 super attenders who came to every single meeting, which was Maya, Raylan, and Riley Clark.
Very nice.
So yeah, and we just wanted to give you a little summary of the projects that we worked on this year. Every year they choose 3 projects: a school-based service project, a community-based project, and an international project. So they're going to give you a little summary of that. Sure.
Okay, for our school service project, we brought recycling back to the elementary school by adding recycling bins to common areas. Presentation, the ideas to directing of buildings and grounds. Mr. Hood and Assistant Principal Ms. Younghan for approval. Ms. Hood gave guidance and information on what the local recycling center accepts. Create posters to advertise and educate what to recycle and how. Empty liquids, plastic, and cans only. The project has been successful. People are using the bins. Thoughts to expand the project next year by partnering with Staples Recycling Program to increase how many items we can recycle and to earn points to spend in the store, supporting our future projects. Volunteer at the Lin-Wood Skate Park.
I'll pause you just for 1 second if that's okay. So they wanted to recycle in the elementary school, something we've done in the past that is kind of difficult to do. And they presented this idea to the Director of Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Hood, and the assistant principal, and they gave us guidance on how we could do it, how it would be possible, and the things we would need to do to make it work. And they worked really hard at making posters that explained how we can recycle and how we can actually make it effective. And then Mrs. Youngheim, she's not here, but she helped us out a lot as well. She brought the idea of partnering with Staples, they have a huge recycling program, incentives to earn points at their store so that we could potentially get materials for our future projects. So that's something we're thinking about next year. Okay. So the next we'll talk about is the community project.
Volunteer at the Lin-Wood Skate Park. Build better days. Assist with collecting trash, raking leaves, trimming brush, and spreading wood. This is now our international project. We supported Interact with their 2026 Believe Service Trip. Interact presented at one of our meetings showing a slideshow of their last service trip to Belize and the projects they were able to complete at the local school. They also provided photos of one of their upcoming projects, which was building a kitchen at the school. Interact asked if we would want to make signs next year for the kitchen. We decided we'd support them next year with signs and also wanted to support them with this year with a donation towards the cost of the kitchen bill. Interact attended another meeting to accept a check for $150.
So Interact is Rotary's middle and high school service program. Once you get to 7th grade, you can participate in that. 6th graders, there's a gap between 5th grade and 7th grade between Early Act and Interact. But the 6th graders are encouraged to join Interact on kind of like a volunteer basis to see what they do, join in the projects and see if it's something they want to do the next year. Interact has been going to Belize for several years now. They didn't go this year, but they're going again in 2026. So that's the project that they supported. Anything that you guys want to say about your experience in Early Act? Who's at 5th grade here? Who will go into 6th grade? Okay, yeah. So, and we talked about that at our last meeting. We had a pizza party and talked about the amount of kids we are going to lose to 6th grade, told them how to be involved in that kind of gap year and kind of made plans for next year. Any pros or cons you want to share? That's okay. Any questions from you guys?
I'd like to say thank you for what you do.
Yeah. It was a really incredible experience for me. They were really hardworking. Everybody showed up to the meetings every day, ready to be involved, full of ideas, full of energy. It was a great experience. So I really appreciate all your hard work. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we've got Mr. Webster.
Yeah, we're gonna dim our lights here so you can get a little slideshow piece here. Oh, that's the one that
Those temperatures store.
What's that? So most of you are all, you know, of course, I'm Dave Webster, the high school science teacher. Also, I've been working in the STEM realm for a little while and doing some robotics and stuff, bringing that stuff here at Lin-Wood. And my counterpart here today is Danny Halloran. Yeah. He has had he had a couple extra periods free, and instead of letting hands go to the bad side of life, we've taken him into the good side of life. So he got to spend about 3 or 4 periods a day with me and working in the back of the room, and we came up with a project for him. So this is the ROV that we came up with. It's called the Hoodie, named after our illustrious head of maintenance here. So some of you may ask what an ROV is. This is what an ROV is. It's not a complete autonomous robot that just takes off and does its wonderful things. This one's actually tethered to someone. This one was actually tethered to Dan like a big umbilical cord of 100 feet.
Yeah, to my laptop. Yeah.
His laptop. That's what we're doing. Wasn't all just willy-nilly. I know these are small, but if you ever wanted them printed out, we can do this. These are some of the actual standards that I matched up with what Dan's tasks were doing, because he did get a grade for this. So in an independent study, so we still have to match up some science standards, some tech standards, to allow him to, you know, get his grades. Yeah.
Yep. So this is the ROV. It has 4 motors, which allow it to move forward, back, left, and right. And then it also has a thruster on the bottom, which helps pitch it up and down. And basically, the whole goal of this was to dive into a body of water and be able to see what's at the bottom and also get some sensor readings as well. So there's a temperature sensor right here on the side. And there's another sensor which measures the parts per million. And that is basically how dirty the water is. Or how many like parts are in it. And yeah, um, it took a lot of work. There is, you can't see it from here, I'll turn it around. But in the inside, there is a lot of electronics. So I used what's called an Arduino, and that was like the motherboard of it. That was the brains of operation. And this Arduino allowed me to control each motor individually using a Xbox controller. Cool. So I connected this Xbox controller to my laptop Bluetooth, through Bluetooth, that I had about, how many lines of code was it?
It's coming up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You'll get to these, so then, these are some of the slides of his different parts as he was creating. As we're going through now,
They're like prototypes.
not only did he have to learn just robotics, but he also had to go back and learn. He had taken another class with me, so he learned how to do the soldering, the welding, how to work out certain things electronic wise that we normally wouldn't cover just in a regular science class. One thing was really neat was this, and Dan's gonna walk around with a couple parts here. You see these legs here. And he'll talk about these other parts here in a minute. But these are all hand designed, 3D printed right in the science lab. So it's not like, going out and just buying things willy-nilly. He actually, blueprinted these things, created them and printed them right there in the lab.
So the 3D printed parts, we have the things that hold the motors right here. This is like a clamp which holds the thruster to the bottom. And then all of the sensor holders, the camera holder, and even some parts on the inside. And those are all 3D printed. And then there's a board on the inside which has mostly electronics mounted to it. And that was made with the laser cutter.
The new glow forge that we
Yeah,
have.
the new glow forge.
I'm not sure many people will understand this as well as I don't understand half of what Dan did. But you can see that it's just a not a true circuit diagram, the blueprint idea, like
Give the newer one.
no, that's the one I have, yeah. So this kind of gives just a basic idea of, some of the wiring and stuff that he had to do.
See the actual.
Yeah, so this is, he played with 3 major Arduino boards and this massive amount of code, and then got it down
It
to,
was like 600 lines of code in total. And I got it down to about 200.
so this is just an example of some of the coding that he was able to do. He had taken some classes, a coding class with me, but he's also done some independent advanced studies in coding that online stuff. And this is the kind of stuff that got him, if you notice his t-shirt that he's wearing, has got him into WPI for college for next year. So here we are at the pool side. This is thanks to Mrs. Diwali and the school's van. We were able to load the van up and my truck up with not only the ROVs and all the parts, but we also, had to bring the toolbox, the tool chest, the whole thing with us. So my back of the truck was filled and the van was filled with this stuff. You can see we got the laptop, and then behind the laptop right there is the ROV camera. So that's a separate digital camera, so it can do recording, video, and all of that stuff as well as we are going under. This is what Mr. Bossy would like for his
GoPros.
extracurricular activities, his goal project.
Save me a swim.
One of the things that we had to do though is this was a lot of work. Danny did all of this work himself, except by the time we realized that we needed some other guys with us. When we went out to actually do some of the testing of it. So we pulled in a couple other students that had taken some of the STEM classes with us, and really they were like imperative to be there. I mean, it was just really important for them to be there because they were able to run around and figure out, well, this sensor may be working, this sensor's not working, this is what's going on. So we, that was day one. You'll see some video of some of our troubleshooting, and then day 2, much better, much.
Is this for taking water samples?
So that's a ballast tank. So basically it sucks up water to make it sink and then it pushes it out to go up. So that was one of the prototypes.
Yeah, it's, so this is not what you use.
No, it's not what we use. Yeah. So basically well, I looked it up, I did a bunch of research and I thought they would work, so I made them. And then I tested this in your fish tank in his back room. And I put the same amount of water that would displace in here and it didn't work. So it worked a little bit, but it didn't sink it as much as I thought. So I had to not use those, but next time if I were to do it, I would use those. I would just have to make some tweaks and then it would work a lot better.
Yeah, these were, and then we were, limited in the size, I guess we could have gone bigger, but he fit 2 of those in here, plus all the electronics.
It was really cramped.
Yeah, it was. We talked about that already?
Yeah.
Let's tell them about this.
So I had no clue how to basically make like, it's almost like a web page kind of thing. With code and I didn't know how to do it, so I had AI help me do it. And basically this shows like all of the sensors, cause I have temperature on the outside, which I said, I also have a distance sensor I forgot about on the bottom, and that tells you how far it is away from the like pool or ocean
Bottom,
floor
yeah.
or whatever it is. And then I also had a moisture sensor on the inside, which let me know if it leaked. And then also a tilt sensor, so that told me like the pitch it was at in the water. Like how far it was tilted up or down. And also like the joystick readings on the Xbox controller. So when I would move one of the joysticks, the little dot in the middle, it would move like according to this. And yeah, so that was the GUI,
The GUI.
so you can call it.
So here's just a quick one of Dan and the team looking here. We put in, you can see it instantly had some buoyancy issues. These are the things that, you have to be in the field to test, a fish tank can only give you so much, so you can see that happened. Here we are, he's testing the motors, of course, sorry, this was filmed on my phone, it was, and I was so amazed everything's working on, doing one of these things. I apologize for that, but that's with us testing the motors. And then I got 2 short clips of success here. You can see the motor spinning and he's gliding across the pool bottom. He can then, the next one.
And away right here.
Yeah.
So this, I was turning the thruster on the bottom of it, so it would lift it off the bottom.
You can still see that we do need to still have some work done.
Yeah, not a lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of.
Usually making
Yeah, that
things
was,
like,
yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm like,
making things like this, like, there was a channel on YouTube I saw they were making a similar like device or submarine. And it was taking them like 2 or 3 years to perfect it, which is like a crazy amount of time.
so the success video you just saw there, it does, we have Mr. Savali to verify, it does move around the pool and the whole works. I just was so excited, I wasn't filming. So what did I learn over this? Wow, this was an amazing project. We are not gonna be able to just turn one of these out in 1 year, like Dan just said. It does take an amazing work. Having a single student working on it was fantastic, but I really want to include these 2 other boys and anybody else that wants to join in with this, and get it, really great up and running machine for us. I know that Joe wants this as well, so as he came up and talked about it.
What did I learned a lot. So coming into this, I knew nothing about electronics. I knew how to somewhat make 3D printed parts on Tinkercad. And I didn't really know much about C coding, which is for the Arduinos. I knew a little bit, but not enough to do something like this complex. Also Python, I had a little bit of background in, not much though. So I had to do a lot of research. I had AI help me research because it's better than Google, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I had to do it like a lot. It was probably like tens of hours of research. Mr. Scholar.
Yeah, what did I? Well, just like, Mr. Webster and I talked about, it's the extra people that were there were really helping out, right, with ideas and helping prep, put weights, take weights off. And just, being in a field test and realizing like, you look at that machine and they do all the testing. Yep, the motors are running, everything looks good. And then you put it in, and you're like, oh, well, okay,
Yeah.
this doesn't work, or this fell. It's like when you look at it and then you think that everything's gonna go well, and then all of a sudden it's like, it's tilting. Then we put a little too much sand in, not enough, and then it really was, it was amazing to watch.
Yeah.
Danny,
I
and
kinda
the other
learned-
two boys were.
I kind of learned that's how engineering is. Like, even with those syringes, it took me weeks to get them perfect because either they weren't spinning or they weren't spinning like fast enough, or like they weren't. Like, okay. But like every part of this, I had to print like multiple times to get right. Just because it's so like detailed and stuff, like the gears, you remember that acrylic thing I had? Yeah, so the gears on the syringes, right here. I had to print these probably 50 times
Yeah.
because I had to get them perfect to the point where there wasn't too much friction between them. So it could basically, and also the threads. So in this gear right here, there's a thread for the screw, which allows it to go in and out. And that thread has to be like perfectly leveled and perfectly cut. So that took weeks to get right, basically.
So you're programming the 3D printer to
Yes.
do that?
Yeah, so this went, some of this originally was all done 3D, and then it turned into the Glow Forge being with that in there in the room, so we were able to cut. Because its laser cutter was able to be so much more precise and do that work, so.
Without the laser cutter, those wouldn't work. Didn't use.
We'd love to have you come up and check it out. If
Yeah.
You guys don't, if you
Yeah,
wanna get up,
yeah.
stretch your legs and look at it, it's pretty amazing piece. That's what we have for you guys tonight, if you have any questions or anything.
What kind of batteries do you use?
So I used 12-volt, 3.5 amp. I'll have it in here. It's like a blue battery, and then there's, what is it, 3 or 4 batteries in a series?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
So you must keep that waterproof then for all the electronics?
Yeah.
So this side of this here, he, again, using the Glow Forge, he created a divider that allowed just the electronic cables through, but no water to go through. And then this side had all the electronics nice and sealed up.
Yeah, and then all the holes in this thing, I went over like 2 or 3 times with epoxy and water weld and a bunch of other stuff, so it'd be waterproof.
I kept the hardware store in business this last.
I am amazed.
Very
Very,
good.
very proud of you, man, because that type of electronics is completely different.
Yeah.
And I mean, I could rewire a B-52 bomber's oxygen system like nothing, and I would never know where to even start on that stuff.
Yeah, no, it took me a while before I knew where to start with it.
Yeah.
This is just such a big.
And like I
project.
said, those boys are, that came with us, wanna take this and go further with it. for
You
us.
did all of this just this school year?
Yes.
Wow,
Wicked proud.
that's incredible.
Dan, can you also, like, I just think that this is so impressive, but there's a whole nother side of Dan that gives back to this community. So he had a really unique schedule and we were allowed to fill it with all kinds of cool things for him. Do you just want to share what you did this winter? Just to share that
Yeah.
you did this, but you also did something pretty amazing for the
So
community.
in the winter, I volunteer with Neds. And I'm a pre-adaptive coach there.
Nice.
So I do a lot of volunteering with them. I've done it since freshman year of high school. Cause I first went there, I think 7th grade, and I got a little taste of it, and then I just kept going back, and it's been a great experience.
He spent several half days
Oh, yeah,
coaching at Ned's.
it was a
Because
good
he had
getaway from
built
school.
so many credits in college credits.
You just had to spend a half
Yeah.
day skiing.
I had to take a break from this.
Yeah.
That's
And then he's in like my biology class as well as regular
It's
courses
just
too.
amazing.
That's fantastic. You should be proud of yourself. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Dave, what's your major at WPI?
Robotics, and then I'll do a fintech minor.
Where did the idea for this come from?
Yeah, I just thought it would be really neat to challenge Dan with something that was beyond a Lin-Wood current capability. And just say, hey, can we do this? And what can we do to push the limit of Lin-Wood's capabilities, you know, and I'm really hoping that the STEM class that I'm doing, you'll see more. I hope to have you guys down more often and see some of the stuff that we're actually creating down there, because it's all complete hands-on. You know, just learning to solder is amazing for, you know, for people. Why do I need to know this? Well, go to college and try to fix your speaker, you know,
Exactly, yeah.
yeah.
Well, one of the things we've been talking a lot about on the board and administration is project-based learning, and this is like exactly the type of thing that we're hoping to incorporate for, you know, a broader range of students.
And I think admin here would say that, you know, out of my room, I try to do a lot of this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Do a lot of it.
and it seems like you found that this was a valuable experience for you and you enjoyed it and something that you could sort of take with you, the stuff that you learned, so.
Yeah, this experience is probably half the reason I'm going to WPI,
Yeah,
because their curriculum is made, like, it's focused on project-based learning. And I mean, in classroom learning, I don't learn anything. But doing this, like, I learn things so quick doing this compared to anything else. It's crazy. The trial and error and research. It's
You're a
fun
hands-on
experience.
learner. That's
Yeah,
cool.
hands-on.
That's awesome.
well done.
Yeah.
Thank you
Danny,
for
great
sharing.
job, buddy.
Nice job.
Excellent.
Ms. Webster.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
This is awesome.
Danny,
Yeah.
where are you working this summer?
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Sounds like you got a job. Probably for Mr. Bossy.
Out on the plane.
That's it.
David, very cool.
I pay well.
Awesome.
I feel like.
Knowledge is payment.
I pay well.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Right.
I've had.
You're killing me now. All I can think of is, how does that bottom sensor work? Is it sonar? Is it-
We're working on that using it like a LiDAR sonar, so next.
Maybe a metal detector?
Yeah, that's what he's looking for.
That was very cool.
That was-
Yeah. Love that stuff.
That's all smart kid right there.
That's an
Yeah,
awesome.
Dan
kid.
is
Young man,
fantastic.
not a kid.
Yep.
Young man.
Yeah.
There's just so much depth to them too.
Ugh.
You know, and to understand.
graduation.
I know.
He seems like an amazing human. Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Good
cool.
kid. I think that this type of thing that we'd like to be able to offer to a lot of students.
Yeah, I think-
A lot of students would thrive in that,
Mhm.
in that.
And that's what we're
circumstance.
trying
It's
to
awesome.
build, and that's why we moved Megan Poole to start that process.
Yep.
Mr. Webster will continue it at the high school in the small project base out of his class. And then, for middle school, they have a period where they're gonna be able to try different things, and we're hoping to be able to get that tech ed person in, so they can learn all the welding, all the tools that might go along with building whatever it is that they wanna build. So that is what we are doing, starting next year. Like,
Yeah.
We started this, and
Fantastic.
it just, you know, kid like Dan is smart, and he could have gone home the rest of the day, and he wanted to be engaged, so I think Mr. Webster had that, and we all gathered together and said, what
Yeah.
else could be in this kid's life? And it was just a really great experience to be able to do something so individualized for a student, and then we're starting to replicate that because it is such a small school. We do have that flexibility
That's fantastic.
to be able to do those things, so.
And the idea of keeping a project like that going for other students to
Yes,
come in
yeah.
and be a part of and refine, and that's exciting opportunities. I like. it.
Yeah.
It is.
Mhm.
And Dave and I
Yeah.
talked, and this is something that, you know, he wants to do, and we do too as admin, wanna have more often is these types of presentations next year to the board, just to promote STEM and just, you know, let
Your project-based
everyone,
learning.
yeah, right, yeah, all of that, just to, so you can see what's going on,
That would be
how we're
awesome. I
utilizing,
love that.
you know, using all that equipment. So, yeah, so hopefully that's gonna be a goal of ours and a plan moving forward next year to see more presentations coming out of the STEM lab.
Speaking of next year's school board meetings, I know they had elections for next year not too long ago. Did they elect a student to be on the school board?
I don't think so, but that's something we're gonna really try to
Yeah.
work hard, or it may not be even, there's different ways you can get representation. So Mr. Stavali's gonna work with that around what that could look like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys can hear updates directly from the students. It's really important.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, even if it's not the same student every time.
Mhm. Right.
And when on a board that I was on, it was a few students, but they wrote like what the teachers did, a letter, and they came and they gave the update and then they just left.
Okay.
So, because they're so involved in so
Mhm.
many things
Mhm.
that, like, one more thing for some of these kids.
Don't need to keep them here all night.
Exactly,
Right, yeah.
exactly,
How long is that board meeting?
right, exactly.
No thanks.
That's a good idea, though. That is something we could do. First thing, rearrange the agenda and have
That,
student presentation first.
yes,
And
that's,
then
that's
move
what
on
we
to our
did
agenda.
on a
That's-
different board that I was on.
That's a great
We
idea.
Had that, the
Yeah.
letter, they came, they gave their update.
Yeah,
and then they
we
left.
need it.
No.
We'll get
Yeah,
you right after
exactly.
non-public.
Yeah.
But that way they can go off and get their homework done or to their practice or whatever.
Exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
Do they
Good
make
idea.
invention convention?
Yeah, I know, like. you have
They
late
don't, we're
nights
looking to
and-
bring something similar back. There's some regional competitions around and Megan's really excited about that. We went out again to Cardigan Mountain School, private school, middle school, for boys, and they have an amazing STEM lab. So I went there last year and that's kind of where we got the inspiration. And then, Mr. Stavali and I went out again this year. So we could just reflect back on what we've done this year and where we want to go and to hear their reflection. So they've been really good partners with us to speak about that. So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Like to see it. Good. All right, next up is communication. You did get the letter from Dory.
Lori, she just, wanted you guys to be aware that she completed this and it's really exciting and,
I'd love to read that out and have, make it part of
Sure.
the minutes. I think it'd be a great thing
You
for
wanna read it?
everybody.
yeah,
to
I think
hear.
so too.
Can I read it? Yes.
Yes.
It says, "Dear administration and members of the Lin-Wood School Board, I want to thank the administration and the school board for supporting me through the teacher education conversion program for ESOL with NHTI. After 24 years of teaching Spanish, I did not think I would be attaining another certification. When Dr. Steady approached me back in December of 2023 with the recommendation of getting my ESOL certification, I was hesitant to add this graduate program to my already busy life. One of the highlights of going through this certification is being able to work with students of all ages. It has been amazing to work with students in our K through 12 community. After some time of not having an established ESOL program at Lin-Wood, I'm happy to report Lin-Wood has a certified ESOL teacher and another one on the way. Thank you again for supporting me on this journey. It has been a positive experience and I'm grateful for the support and furthering my education and profession. With gratitude, Dory Whedon." Let Dory know how thankful we are for her to taking that on and getting that done, and that's fantastic. We're such a small school that having teachers that are certified in multiple things is great, and
Yes.
we appreciate her stepping up.
And that's a lot of work that she did.
It's a lot of
Mm.
work
Yeah.
that she did.
Yeah,
I do have one communication that came in after, Dr. Brahman and I have spoken on the phone a few times. I think he was the principal here.
When I was a
Yeah.
elementary school student, I believe, yeah.
Okay, so, he's now living in Florida. His wife has deceased, but he's written a book about her. And, some of the things people who knew her, put on social media and he created it into a book. So he sent me a copy. But I didn't know if one of you wanted to read it before myself, if I read it. So if any of you guys do want to read this, you can take it tonight or it'll be at the SAU office, but he sent this for us to enjoy.
Thank you.
it's awesome.
Right,
And CES newsletter.
all right, Deb, is this administrative?
Just pass that around. I usually jot down notes and don't put a report in your packet, because I'm usually doing it at the last minute, but I wrote a lot of things this week, so I figured it might be easier if you have it in front of you. There are actually, the transportation aid, that's an agenda item, so we'll talk about that when we get to that. audit engagement letter, which isn't on there, so we were just talking about that, but it needed to be signed, which Jay signed, and the auditors will be starting on July 8th, just doing internal controls and a walkthrough that day. And then they'll come back for the big audit in October. Okay, so on here, I was just talking about some revenues that we received. We received our federal forest revenue in May. It always comes in May, it's $55,000. Again, the federal forest revenue is a revenue that we receive that doesn't come from our local taxpayers or any other revenue sources. And in the fall, when we set our tax rates, the Department of Revenue says, okay, this is how much you need to put in for federal forest reserve monies. And I just hope every year that it comes in, especially this year, wasn't sure. But we did get our federal forest reserve money, and it came in a little bit higher than what they had told us to budget at $52,000. But because we got an email from the Department of Ed saying a lot of towns, there was a shortfall in that they got less than what was said. And that affects, you know, if it's big enough, I mean, it could be a substantial shortfall that you're kind of scrambling at the end of the year saying, okay, where's this money going to come from? Or how are we going to offset that shortfall? But
Has it ever been a shortfall?
it's always pretty close, but again, this year was the first year we received this memo saying, and I don't know what towns, you know, it's mainly the towns up north or anyone in the national forest that has national forest lands in their towns or districts. So, okay, so the other thing is I wanted to go over, you know, I'm constantly reviewing the budget, but I wanted to go over a few things in the budget, as we're winding down the year, and that's why I wrote all this stuff out. So special education, which we have an agenda item on here for special education capital reserve. So there's a few lines that we went over in the budget. When I look at the different function lines, our total overall bottom line budget is fine, but it's closer than normal. So special education, we're over in that line. And the reason is we talked about this, we had a few special ed placements that we had to pay for beginning of the year that weren't budgeted.
How
We didn't know
significantly
about
are we
those.
over?
Huh?
How significantly are we over?
We're over enough that I'd like to take money out of the capital reserve account, the $60,000. So, and also there's a bigger placement that we usually budget for. That the cost of that was a little bit higher than what we budgeted for. Plus, when we budget, we don't budget the whole thing because we know we're going to get special education aid, and we say we're going to take some money out of the capital reserve account if we need it, and then we'll replenish it when we get our special education aid. So that's what I want to do tonight and cover that $60,000 of special education aid that we know we'll get sometime next year.
Gotcha.
So that's a special education aid. SAU services. We are over in the SAU line primarily due to the strategic plan expense, but we talked about this earlier in the year when we reviewed changes in the positions last fall for budget versus actual salaries and benefits. We had about $80,000 in savings. And we said, well, okay, that can cover our, just because of some of the positions that we moved around, positions that were filled that, or that weren't filled. So we said we would cover this cost of the strategic plan, which is $60,000 for this year. We felt comfortable doing that with the savings that we had. The thing is, I charged the $60,000 to the SAU office or the SAU services for the
Oh,
strategic plan.
Gotcha.
While the savings and salaries and benefits are all over our budget.
Yeah,
Okay, so
So it just looks weird, but
it just looks weird.
right.
You know, we knew
it doesn't.
totals, we're okay.
Yeah,
But I just
okay.
wanted, so when you look at that line, you'd be like, oh, why are you over?
That makes sense, yeah.
Okay, so facilities, we're about $70,000 over in facilities. There's so many factors here. So we had, remember the sprinkler inspection we had, so we had some deficiencies we had to fix there at the high school. We had the elementary school pipe that burst, about $5,000 for that in total. We had some middle school hallway lighting that we replaced, $4,000. Again, these were things, yeah, we budget maintenance repairs in our budget. But we don't budget specifically all these things, okay?
Right.
So, when they were doing the vestibule, the entryway project last summer, we replaced some flooring out there that we hadn't budgeted for. It wasn't in the grant that we got. We did the new garage site plan study, $4,000. So again, these things are adding up. Electricity is $20,000 higher than budget, and I think this was more of a budgeting error, because I had used prior year expenditures where we had received some credits, and I didn't back those out when we were doing the budget. That's some of that. Oil tanks. This all happened within the last few weeks.
Just right repair one.
It's a compliance audit that we get every 3 to 5 years. We didn't budget for this. And it's kind of hard to budget for because you never know what they're gonna come up with. So far, the cost right now is $15,000 worth of invoices, repairs, things that we've received in the last few weeks. Including a $10,000 spill bucket repair. I mean, there's a whole bunch of invoices in this week's. 5,000, other issues like precision line tightness testing, which has to do with a single wall tank, which is what we have up here, cathodic protection testing, integrity tightness testing. The list goes on, and so does the cost. So about $15,000 of expenses that have just come in the last few weeks.
Now, we're in compliance now.
We are in compliance once we get, so there's the spill bucket repairs, the $10,000 that hasn't been done yet. We just got the quote to do that.
Yeah, that's just on one tank though, correct?
Yeah, that's just on one tank, that's on the high school tank. So again, these are just things that come up, you know, that some years you get hit by a lot, and some, you know. Last year, the SAFE grant project, and I don't know if you recall this, but I went back to the July 17th school board meeting. So we had some expenses that weren't in the grant, they were like change orders. And of course, I'm like, yeah, last July, yeah, we had money in the budget. We thought we could cover it, and I did say, I had the school board meeting minutes that said, if the budget's tight at the end of the year, we can always hold a trust fund meeting. I don't think we really need to take any money out of the trust fund because overall, we haven't overexpended our budget. But we've overexpended the facilities line, and we know why we overexpended the facilities line because of all these things. I don't think we need to take money out of the trust fund to cover these, because we're covered in total. Anyway, just, you know, we're constantly looking at these things, and you know, especially at the end of the year when you get hit with some of these things, you get, it's a little nerve-wracking, but we are watching these, you know, again, when we looked at, we had savings in the beginning of the year. Can we do the strategic plan this year? Can we pay for that? Yes, so we're constantly moving money from line item to line item.
Will we still have the money left over to put into the trust fund?
I think we will, because, well, so right now, when our budget, we're probably have about $160,000 to $200,000. Again, I still haven't received all the invoices for this year, and I'm trying to like think of what haven't I received. You know, I try to encumber as much as I can. But we got this transportation aid money. So when you look at, we might have, say, $160,000 left in expenditures, but now we have extra revenue too. And that all goes into when we're calculating our year-end
Unexpended, yeah.
balances, the surplus or whatever you want to call it at the end of the year.
So, because we're gonna, I mean, I think our plan was to increase the amounts we were putting into some.
We did, yeah, so I think it's 160,000, so I think we'll be okay there.
But then
The question is, how much can we retain after that? We also have the retained fund balance from last year. If you don't use it, it kind of goes back in and it comes back into this calculation too. Because we never.
And then we can.
So that will be part of the calculation too.
Oh, okay, so.
We still have that.
Yeah, yeah.
But that technically goes back in, but then we can also retain that.
We can retain, right,
Right.
yeah, and then, yeah.
Yeah.
We just can't put it into a trust fund.
Right.
Directly from here. So I think overall, we'll be okay. It's just, you know, we had a lot of pluses and minuses throughout the year. And that happens. We set the budget, we start doing the budget a year ahead of time.
Yeah.
Things change.
That's when a crystal ball would come in handy.
Oh,
Right?
Debbie, thank you.
are there any other questions?
No, is that all you have?
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, and because there's a couple of things that we're gonna need to.
Right,
Yeah. Thank you. All right, Dr. Steady.
I went to the North Country Charter School graduation. We did have 4 students who recently graduated. And although it's not our school, there is a significant commitment on the board's behalf to make sure those students have slots there and that we transport those students there. So thank you guys for allowing these kids to have another alternative path to graduation. In your packet, you'll see the chemical hygiene plan. This plan fulfills both legal and board policy requirements. You don't have any immediate action on this, but I just wanted you to see it and be aware that it does exist. And just a huge thank you to Katie Parent for exceptional leadership and guiding Sharon, Debbie, Mark, and me through the completion of this plan. It was a lot of work on her behalf to get it here and really keeping us on task to get it done. When I have reached out to other people, they're not nearly as far as we are on it because it is a huge lift, but Katie has done an exceptional job leading this. We still are on target for our website, new website to launch on July 1, and thank you, Sharon, for keeping us focused on that. On June 25th, we have a meeting scheduled. It's the second meeting, and if it's not, I don't feel it will be necessary. So you guys can make the decision.
Oh, no, I definitely want him
Just
to.
meeting or not. So you'll need to let me know if you want to meet or not.
Water in my cup.
Oh wait, actually, I can't meet, so I'm in a training and Peter's in a training.
Yeah, I'm at a conference.
So, but it's
So we're
not.
definitely gonna meet them.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, yeah, there'll be
Perfect. Just let me
one.
know whatever you guys decide.
Just
Uh,
off my calendar.
Our strategic plan is coming along nicely. We met last week in person for about 3 hours where we really spoke about what does it mean to be a learner in this district. There were about 40 different ideas that came back from the community, from all of those online meetings, surveys. That was narrowed down to some more manageable ideas where there's another review. Red will continue to work on this through the summer, hopefully be able to get some feedback from community members, possibly from board members. We will definitely get feedback in opening days or the very beginning from the staff on that, then which a draft will go to you for, kind of some review with hopefully a final strategic plan. Really, as it turns out right now, it's very focused on maybe not necessarily using the words project-based learning, but cross-curricular, interdisciplinary, hands-on experiences. So that should be ready for possibly for you guys to make a decision in October of this year. So yeah, it'll be really exciting if everything that's in it comes through. I think you guys will be really pleased with how it can shape the education here.
Just want to make a comment on that. I listened to the
Podcast?
podcast wrap up.
Oh.
What an innovative way to deliver the information about it.
Yeah, that's pretty simple.
Yeah.
So when we.
It's all AI.
Yeah, we went to Google, they showed us that, so it was very simple. You take Notebook LM from Google, you take all of your documents, so I uploaded the email from them, the PowerPoints, all the minutes, and I just put it in there and I said, make me a podcast for this audience. No longer than 15 minutes and of this, and so it created it for you. It's very cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's why I figured when I came back from Google, that's number one thing I want to try to do, see if I can make one of these podcasts simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Really smart use of. I mean, obviously, with any AI, you gotta verify it against,
Yeah, I listened to it.
So I didn't,
Yeah,
I didn't go through the, check the verification, but, at first glance, I thought it was a really innovative way to test new technology and come up with a new platform for other people to digest that information.
Yeah, so I sent it to you, I sent it out to the CPG group and to the school community, the teachers. And so from that, people did say they liked it. We worked with Trey to be able to get access to this for staff members and to make sure that Gemini, which is an AI device, that staff have access to that now. The reason that we like the Google platform is a lot of times it's protected. So you can pull the information from outside, from like a Google, any of the search engines, anything out there. But if we were to put anything in it, it doesn't get pushed out to the universe. So our stuff stays confidential. but we get to, access everything else up there. So, that was a good trip. We did learn a lot there. You got the letter from Dory. I just wanted to let you know a couple of the summer programs. We'll have our traditional special ed ESY program where kids will be off in NEDs too. We'll have our middle high school summer school. We will be offering golf again at a partnership with the Jack. We'll have the boys and girls of summer hiking. We possibly have a new program here called Impact. We tried to bring it the last 2 years, but the enrollment wasn't enough. And it's essentially for kids who may have some sort of learning difference, but might need assistance with credit recovery, but also interviewing skills and job performance. So they get paid to participate in this program and go out and learn job skills, but also they'll leave there with a resume and interview skills and things like that and credit. So we're hoping to be able to have that. Granite State Independent Living, who runs it, really wanted a set number of students. We didn't have that population, but because other schools aren't able to offer it, they're gonna possibly be able to offer it for 1 or 2 of our students, even though it's gonna be small, still gonna be impactful for our students. And then we'll have, again, our STEM and robotics program, which is really exciting, and Megan Full and Kristen Bader will continue to run that with partnership with Whimsy. In addition to, I just want to say Whimsy has just recognized our efforts in STEM, that they have a laser cutter they gave us, which will cut like metal and things different than what ours does. It's used from them. It's not as powerful as what they need, but it will suit our needs. So I picked that up the other day when I was in Littleton for a meeting. And so we do have it here. It's with Trey. So that'll just be another tool that we will have in our, hopefully, STEM lab by the end of next year, a big one.
Nice.
Unfortunately, we do, oh, my, there's, look at me run this.
You just keep going.
I know, right?
Here, yeah, you know, this is.
Yes.
Almost there.
Okay, I'm not there.
Yes, but-
We will need to, if we could reschedule the July 16th meeting, that's the day of our admin retreat. And the proposed day would be July 23rd. The only item we really have going towards that is the student handbook. Next year, I'm going to try to get it earlier at this meeting. And unless we have hiring, that will be the other thing for that meeting. So it would be a short, very short meeting.
I thought we said we weren't doing the July, we're not, right?
What's that?
We're not doing the July meeting, right? Is that what we
Well,
said?
No, I think what she's saying
There's
is
a student handbook that you have to approve, and that was always in your July meeting.
it's the second June meeting is the one that we're not gonna do.
Oh, it's a July.
So it would be July 16th.
So instead of July 16th, July.
July
23rd.
23rd, yeah.
It'll be a short meeting,
Maybe
unless
we're-
you want to do a remote meeting where you approve it remotely.
I mean, I think moving us to the 23rd.
Okay,
There's always
That's fine,
something.
yeah.
There
There's
could be
always some little
something that's
stuff,
gonna
but,
come
yeah.
up, that's why okay.
That's fine, and then.
Your goal setting meeting, you wanted the date for that to be moved, and so we're suggesting September 24th.
Is that,
The regularly scheduled board meeting.
yeah, okay,
Mhm.
so it'd just be kind of before or after that?
Yeah.
Anybody have any issues with that?
No.
Alright. Then it is done.
I think I'm just about done, just, your dates for our admin retreat, our new staff orientation, your return August 19th, and the first day of school is August 23rd. Now I'm done.
You need non-public?
What? No, I don't think, oh, the meeting's not done, but I'm done.
No, I meant, usually,
No. I don't
usually you
think
tell
we
us
need
if
it.
you have anything for non-public or not.
No, I don't think we need to.
Alright, thank you.
You're
Mr. Dollar.
Thanks, exactly what Mary said.
Ditto.
Yeah, we just finished up our field trip season. It was great. Our last field trip was just the other day, Tuesday. Rebecca? Cog Railroad, right? Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna talk about that, so I will not say anything else. And we had our varsity baseball and softball teams, make it to the first round of playoffs this year. Had great games, played really hard. They came up short, but they had a fantastic season. Booster Club had their annual banquet. And I'll say also kudos to the Booster Club again. Without their support, boy, they do an amazing job for us and the children of our school district. And then, that's basically it. We're having field days. Wrapping up this week. We only have limited time left. We have Thursday and half day Friday, and we're out. Field days are tomorrow and Friday. Tomorrow for elementary and
What time do they get out on Friday?
11:45.
11:45. Good to
Yeah,
know.
we'll have lunch and then 11:45 they'll be dismissed.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we have eighth grade continuation where we welcome our new freshmen. As we said goodbye to our seniors on last Friday, we'll welcome our new
I had a
freshmen.
question. There was 27 graduates.
Mhm.
How much money was given away in scholarships?
73,000.
Holy
Yeah.
smokes.
Isn't that
We're
amazing?
living in an amazing.
I know, it is amazing.
Debbie and I are gonna work on putting
An article.
article for the
Thank you.
paper.
That's
And
awesome.
Thank you, not, yeah,
That's,
it's a
It-
lot of money.
Yeah, some of the kids, it adds up quickly for them and you're like, oh, yeah,
it's incredible.
it is
Yeah.
very nice. It is great for them that they have.
And we
all
have a
that.
great community. I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's how we're wrapping up the week. So tomorrow begins fun for our elementary school. They're so excited about field day. And
Yeah, they
the,
are.
and the fire truck.
The slip and slide.
And the slip and slide and all that
That's what I've
fun.
been hearing about.
Yes. Yes, so thank you.
Thank you. All right, we had committee reports. I saw that we had the minutes from the facilities committee, but we talked about all that stuff last week.
Policy not tonight.
What do you got for us?
You'll have tons next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. There are quite a few that are just review. A couple to withdraw, and then there was a few with some changes as well.
Nothing tonight though for.
Nothing tonight, no.
Then we have staff nominations, recommendations and resignations.
So for resignations, Sayer Cronin, he's going to be going on to higher ed, to additional college, getting his master's. He did express possibly interested to come back to sub, and Cheryl Peltech, she is going to spend more time with her grandchildren.
Good for her.
But wants to sub also, so both of those letters are in there. And then Jack is, although he's not an employee,
Right,
it
right,
may feel like it is, he did retire. We had a wonderful celebration for him after the awards breakfast for the high school, and then we celebrated at each lunch, and the kids signed a big thing on the wall, made cake and.
Retiring, good for him.
Yeah,
He will be
I mean,
missed.
He will be missed, yeah, definitely.
yeah, yeah.
Send the board's congratulations on
I
him.
will.
Let him know that we'll miss him.
And we haven't replaced any of the pairs yet. We've had some interviews, and we had an interview with our math teacher, and so.
So that'll probably be the July meeting.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
It'll definitely be.
But we have worked through the para and have put a plan B in place for the math. We don't necessarily want to do that, but we are.
Do you
Looking
need
into
a
that.
vote to accept their resignations with the paras?
I mean,
They're not contracted, so it wouldn't.
yeah. They're not a contract, well, they are a collective bargaining agreement, so maybe we should do it.
I'll make a motion
Yeah.
to accept Sarah Cronin's and Cheryl Peltech's resignations with regret.
A second.
Thank you, Tammy. Thanks, Jasmine. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, and the motion carries. Thank you. Special Education Capital Reserve.
Yeah, so since that's a capital reserve account, we don't need to hold a public hearing, but I'd like to move $60,000 out of the capital reserve account into the general fund to cover the shortage in special education. Special education services.
And that represents roughly the amount that we're gonna get reimbursed from the state.
Yes. In the
In the next
special
budget
education,
cycle.
yeah, and that's basically how we've been
Yeah.
trying to budget.
Yeah,
At least one of the placements, and the other two we didn't even know about.
right, right.
We just need a motion.
I'll make a motion to take 60,000 out of the special education capital reserve and put it in the general fund.
Second.
Thanks, Tammy. Thanks, Joe. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, and motion carries. Transportation aid.
Yeah, so the transportation aid, it's my little memo there, we discussed it at our last meeting, but I didn't realize, and I was talking to other, schools that received the money, and they said you really should vote to accept that money because it was such a large amount. And so again, that was just, and it was a reimbursement from 2 years prior, from 22-23 and 23-24 is money that was in the state budget. It is going away after June 30th.
So they
But we
expended it.
need to vote to accept the transportation aid.
That number?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the $104,868 from the transportation aid grant for prior year's vocational transportation expenses and to recognize it as unanticipated revenue for 2024 and 2025.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Tammy. Thanks, Joe. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, and that motion. I think we covered the July meeting date and the goal setting meeting date. We have nothing under new or continuing business. We don't have any students, but we do have staff. How's it going?
Good, and you? From Diana Pamplin and Sarah Bowden, the kindergarten class has spent the last month investigating ocean creatures. Did you know that the wingspan of the largest manta ray is 29 feet? Or that a shark's bumpy scales are called dermal denticles? Did you know that a sea star pre-tastes food with its rays? Well, the kindergartners know these facts and many, many more. They use this learning to inspire and instruct their informational writing skills. Please take a few minutes to walk down the hallway tonight and look at the walls outside the kindergarten rooms. They're very proud of their learning. Thank you. And I did hear from Heather Krill that the high schoolers had their last reading buddies and they made jellyfish also as part of
Nice.
all of this that tied in together. So there's pictures of when we're into the big kids and the little kids.
I
with
do
jellyfish.
suggest you look at it. They dragged me and showed me every little thing, each one of them through. It was
Fantastic.
very cute.
Yeah.
I have a kindergartner, so I've been learning a lot.
Know some of these facts.
Tell me what fact you know about starfish, Dad.
Right.
She asked me to go shrimp.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
they're learning for sure.
Yeah.
From me for the last a couple of field trips, grade 8 had a fun and active 3-day camping trip in May to the Hulbert Outdoor Center in Vermont. The fan favorites were ziplining, climbing elements, canoeing, and archery. Food was delicious, staff was great, and the weather and bugs were kind to us. The kids were able to bond and continue to find their independence as well as their cooperative skills as they embark on high school. Thank you for supporting this trip.
Thank you for all the work you do on that trip.
Yeah, it's a good one.
They love it. Yeah.
It seemed too short though.
You think? Well, I asked some of the kids, I was like, would you want 5 days? And it was kind of a split. But too short for you.
No. I mean, I get to go both ways there.
Now I'm seeing where it's coming from, Amy.
Lacey said that just when they were like really into
Right.
it, they had to.
Yeah, yep. And then other kids were like, no, it was just enough, or, I don't know, but I thought the same thing. I was like, they keep them busy, super. And then yesterday, we took grade 7 up, Mount Washington to experience the summit weather and get a tour of the observatory. We rode up the cog and were joined by staff from the observatory to take measurements of temperature and air pressure as we ascended the mountain. It was a positive experience for the students, climbing the highest peak to walk in the clouds, some getting over a fear of heights, while others were intrigued by the mechanics of the train cog. So thank you also for allowing us to have that trip. Pretty cool. We didn't see Nimbus the cat, but it was still pretty successful. And also last month, a handful of 7th grade students chose to participate in the first annual state middle school science fair at NHTI. They designed and conducted their own experiments, which included testing different fuels in a Stirling engine, finding out if different citrus juices can make invisible ink, and learning about why different colors absorb sunlight differently. We had a couple of second place finishers in the chemistry and physics and electronics categories. So congratulations to Mackenzie and Juniper and Charlie and Henry respectively. I'm proud of the students and the work they put into their project, answering questions from 5 or 6 judges that morning and representing Lin-Wood well alongside students who were there from science academies.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll have more students participate next year.
Thank you.
I don't see any communities, and you said that we do not need to publish to non-public.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Tammy.
Very good.
Good, Casey.
I never hear.
Aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous.